Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Buffalo SportsCenter video. I am Don, and today we are going to summarize every single move that the Buffalo Sabres made at the trade deadline this year. It's been a wild season here for the Buffalo Sabres. They have taken some massive steps, and leading up to the trade deadline here, it's been a little frustrating for fans to watch as the Sabres don't make any moves while their rivals such as the Ottawa Senators, the New York Rangers, the Detroit Red Wings, Pittsburgh Penguins, all of these other teams are making big, massive moves except for the Sabres. General Manager Kevin Adams has reiterated time and time again that he will not mortgage the team's and organization's future to win now. He is going to stick to the process. But did he really stick to the process? Well, we'll look through all of the moves that the Sabres have made, starting out with defenseman Riley Stillman. Oh yeah, as you see a whole bunch of pictures up there, that is from our Buffalo Sports Center Instagram, which you guys should definitely go follow. But Riley Stillman is an interesting pickup here for the Sabres. He is a physical, gritty defenseman that is coming over from the Vancouver Canucks. The Sabres gave up prospect Josh Bloom. They sent Bloom for Riley Stillman, 1-for-1. And the initial response to this was, this is kind of a strange trade for the Sabres to make. But not exactly. Stillman has played under Don Granato before. He has played in this system, and he was much better, namely in Florida with Joel Quenneville and them. So Stillman, while he doesn't have the best reputation coming out of Vancouver, he could fit the system, and for me, he is absolutely a kind of an upgrade over Jacob Bryson as our seventh defenseman. He is much more physical. He is much more gritty. He is much more consistent. We know what we're going to get from Stillman. With Bryson, I'm not necessarily sure what he really brings to the Sabres. So at least we have a defenseman now that is truly a bottom pairing, physical kind of guy. Moving on now, we have the big trade of the day, Jordan Greenway. Yes, the Sabres acquired Jordan Greenway, forward from the Minnesota Wild, in exchange for a second-round pick from the Vegas Golden Knights trade, the Jack Eichel trade. That was this year's second-round pick, plus a fifth-round pick as well. So the Sabres gave up a second and a fifth in exchange for forward Jordan Greenway, who has had a very lackluster season so far. He has really struggled over there in Minnesota under their new coach Dan Eveson and his very rigid system. Greenway only has 2 goals and 7 points this season. But much like Tage Thompson, he has played under Don Granato before. He is 6'6". He has a lot of raw potential. And the Sabres, Don Granato especially, they're going to look to get the most out of Greenway, who I expect will probably be on the third, maybe second line for the Sabres. He will bring an added physical presence. He will add more penalty kill experience, especially. And that second point right there, penalty kill. The Sabres have really struggled this year in the penalty kill department. They are 31st in the league out of 32 teams. So to bring a guy like Greenway in to help with that is huge for the Sabres. Now, this is sort of a reclamation project here for Greenway. He has spent his entire career in Minnesota, and besides this current season, Greenway has actually been a very good middle six forward, so it will be interesting to see how Buffalo works him into the lineup, how they utilize him, and how his defensive physical capabilities benefits the Sabres going into the season. And another important point about Greenway is that he is under contract for the next 2 years as well. So like Tyson Jost, he joins Buffalo as sort of a reclamation project, and it will be really interesting to see how this turns out. But let's keep moving this along and talk about the first guy that was actually traded away, and that was Rasmus Asplund. And Asplund was traded away to Nashville in order to comply with the roster limit. You can only have 23 players on a roster at a given time. That is active players, of course. So Greenway came in, which means everyone was like, well, when are the Sabres going to trade a forward away? And expectedly, that was Rasmus Asplund, who has really seen his ice time diminish. He's only played in 30 games this year for Buffalo. So he's had a very low impact, and like Greenway, he has very much struggled in this current system under Don Granato, so it only makes sense that if Greenway was coming in and there had to be a forward the Sabres were to trade away to make this work out, it would be Asplund. So best of luck to Asplund as he moves on to Nashville. Let's keep talking now about Eric Portillo, one of the Sabres' 2 top goalie prospects. He was traded to the LA Kings in exchange for a 3rd-round pick. Portillo was selected in the 3rd round a couple of drafts ago. And unlike the Sabres' other top goalie prospect, Devin Levi, Portillo was not going to sign in Buffalo. He was going to test the free agent market for prospects this summer, and it was very unlikely that he would stay in Buffalo. Kevin Adams, seeing this and recognizing this, decided, I got to get Portillo out, get some value for him. And they did. They got a 3rd-round pick, so they basically just got what they originally had. So they now have 8 draft picks, or 7 actually, because we traded away 1 or 2 in the Greenway trade. But the Sabres, they recoup an asset here for a guy that was not going to sign in Buffalo. Very tidy business here from Kevin Adams. I like this trade, as I do with the Jordan Greenway trade. Now, let's keep on going here to Anders Bjork, a guy that is also looking for a second chance. He, like Asplund, we're seeing diminished opportunities here with the Sabres. So Bjork, he wanted to keep his NHL career alive, so he goes to the dumpster fire that is the Chicago Blackhawks. Hopefully he can revitalize his career there. He's been playing in Rochester for most of this season in the AHL. So hopefully Bjork, he was acquired by the Sabres in that Taylor Hall trade. That Taylor Hall trade, by the way, looking worse and worse every day for the Sabres and for Kevin Adams. They really did not have any leverage going into those negotiations with Boston, which is unfortunate. But Bjork, he goes to Chicago in exchange for a very low draft pick. And actually, it was future considerations, which, once again, the Sabres and Kevin Adams loves acquiring a guy named future considerations. That's pretty funny. Anyways, let's continue on now to the last guy here. And that was actually a AHL trade. The Sabres made a minor trade where they acquired Austin Strand from the Anaheim Ducks in exchange for a defenseman named Chase Prisky. He was playing with Rochester this past season. Excuse me, I can't speak right now. But this was a very minor AHL deal. This added a little bit more size to Rochester's defensive core as they gear up for another AHL playoff run. But anyways, folks, this was it here for the Sabres. I just summarized all of the trade deadline moves. What did you think about them? Did you like them? Did you hate them? Were you somewhere in between? Bring this debate down to the comments section and let me know. But anyways, thank you so much, folks, for watching this video. I was Don. This is Buffalo SportsCenter, and I will see all of you in the next video. Peace.